Hello, it's Davey Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. Here's the word, y'all. It's available for pre-order on my Bandcamp page for Sunnyside Records, where you can also find my other fine Sunnyside products. This is number 6, my goodness, and it's a sequel to where'd Benign Strangers go? Benign Strangers. Me and Ko Omura, we split the tunes, 5 of my tunes, 5 of Ko's tunes. John Ellis, Glenn Zaleski, Matt Closey, Michael Perez Cisneros on the engineering, Chris Drucker on the fun design where it looks like a book. Anyway, real excited about it. It's coming out January 17th, but you can pre-order it now. Got my Mel Bay collection. The third Mel Bay book on jazz phrasing is in the works. I had to make a few changes due to the vagaries and vicissitudes of copyright law in the United States. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about today. It's December, getting ready to head down to Brazil for the Christmas holiday, and I was thinking I'd do a Christmas song. And, I've just got through a series of Christmas gigs and Christmas shows, as we musicians tend to do this time of year. And I was thinking of one that I actually like, that I could talk about. And the obvious choice is Christmas Time Is Here, from the Charlie Brown Christmas, because it has like fun changes. You can play a melodic minor scale. I don't know, somehow I love that song, but it seemed a little too obvious to me. There's another one that I actually really like that has a really amazing jazz rendition that I'm going to talk about a little bit. But the tune is Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. We all know it. And the version I'm talking about is a really great Bill Evans trio version on Trio 64 with Gary Peacock and Paul Motian. The only time that trio, I don't know, I have to go back through my Bill Evans biography to see if they played any gigs together, but that's definitely the only record they made. I think it was the last time Paul Motian played with Bill Evans, or at least recorded with him. And man, it's just like, it's funny because it's such a, think of it as like a goofy kind of kid song, but that's such a great recording. I really, really love that recording. That whole album is great. Somehow that's like the highlight for me. And I wish Peacock and Evans had recorded more, because he's like swinging. It doesn't sound like a bass solo the whole time, which is cool. And I love all the Bill Evans stuff. But my favorite era, I think I kind of like that Chuck Israel's, Gary Peacock sort of transitional period in between LaFaro and Eddie Gomez, who, mad respect to those two gentlemen, but I like that interim period in like the early mid-60s. So anyway, this tune is, I was looking it up, I didn't realize it's by Fred Coots, J. Fred Coots, who also wrote You Go to My Head, For All We Know, Louisiana Fairy Tale. That's a good one. And I guess this is definitely his biggest hit. But man, the dude had some really serious writing chops. And it's a simple song. I guess maybe another way to talk about the harmony, it's been recorded by everybody and their grandma. And that's another one where it could actually literally have been, there might have been like a grandmother who recorded it and then their kid recorded it. It's that old and that popular. But I was looking at this version from the Sinatra, there was like a Sinatra Christmas special in 1957, where I guess Sinatra and Bing Crosby sang Christmas tunes together, and it was in color TV. I was just watching the Turner Classic Movies introduction where they explained the whole thing. That was one of the first color TV spectacles in 1957. But he sings it in B flat. Bill Evans is in G. So I'll go through the changes in G. There's a couple little curveballs that Bill Evans throws with the changes, but he doesn't go too crazy with it. But Sinatra stuff, it's better not count. So G major, G7, better C major, C minor. Then the same thing again. G major, G7, C major, C minor. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's the basic idea. The Sinatra version, I don't know, it kind of sounds like Nelson Riddle arrangement. Didn't see the credits, but you have this. Better not cry. The first time, the 4 chord, instead of 4 minor back to 1, he goes 4, sharp 4, diminished back to 1. And then the second time, they go down to F7. So 4 minor, but the flat 7 version of it. And then the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Bill Evans, he does go 4 minor both times, but he also like on the last 2 measures of the A section. So when you have B minor, E7, A7, or A minor, D7, he goes like an E flat triad over D, or E flat major 7 chord over D. I guess you could call it D Phrygian maybe, and then A flat triad over D. So he gets that. Same thing. Santa Claus is coming to town, and then maybe just like the E flat over D to G. It's not really clear what they do in the second ending, but something like that. But they resolve it back to G, and then the bridge you have like sees you when and I love that. I never thought about this that much when I was a kid, obviously, but even playing it until I tried to play it on like solo gigs. That the melody on the bridge you have 2/5 to 4, right, to C. He sees you when. Y'all ever think about that? It's clearly like a G7 going to C, but the melody goes to an F sharp, and somehow we don't like really think that that's weird or wrong or bizarre. But I mean, the chord's a G7, and the melody's a natural 7. Major 7, flat 7, major 7 on a dominant 7 chord. It's like the cardinal sin, right? It's the, I did a whole video. You can go back in time, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago even, my video on transgressive jazz vocabulary. But this is a transgressive jazz melody, jazz Christmas melody at that. But maybe it's like, yeah, it sounds so natural, like, sees you when you're sleeping. So it's like, goes to the 4, 2/5 to 4, turns around and 4. He knows when you're away. Then it does the same thing up a whole step. Knows in you. Sorry, I just had to like emphasize that. It's kind of out there. Bad or good, so be E minor, A7, A minor, D7. Better not cry, better not cry. 1/5 of 4, 4 minor, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Theory kind of sounds like that appoggiatura again, but man, like a real dissonant appoggiatura. And I was thinking about this song too, lyrically. We think of it as so goofy, but I feel like we've gotten away from the sort of the threat of Santa, right? It's kind of like makes Christmas seem a little bit like Halloween, right? Like the trick or treat. Like, do you have the candy that you need for these kids? Because if you don't, they're going to mess you up. They're going to do something wrong to you. And Santa's like, hey, have you been naughty or nice? Because these days we just take it for granted that you got to give the kids a bunch of stuff, no matter how annoying they've been the previous year. But I like this idea that Santa's like, he's coming to town, and it's sort of like, be careful. I mean, it's like, you better watch out. Like, you better get your act together, because this man is like, he's like the avenging angel of Christmas. So I kind of appreciate that, the threat of this song as well. And I don't know what to say about the chord changes, although I found it interesting, like on the Bill Evans version, he plays a lot of like blues. He kind of plays some mild stuff, right? Because this is one of those tunes where, when it's so repetitive like that, like the 1 dominant, 4, 4 minor, you have to do that again. It can get really exhausting. It's kind of like rhythm changes, where you... How many times are you going to do that little guide tone line of major 7, dominant 7, major third of the 4, minor third of the 4, and then you got to do it again. It gets a little exhausting. So sometimes when I was playing on it a few minutes ago, I was trying to think of like all the common tones, you know, the negative guide tones, if you will, or just the notes that don't implicate any of those that work over all 4 of those chords, like 1 dominant, 4 minor, and don't have to deal with the notes that shift, like the major 7 going to dominant 7, or the major third going to the minor third. So it's a lot of notes in there, right? All that stuff. All those notes work over, like, I mean, to be specific, G, A, D, C, all work over all those chords, right? So if you can mix in some of those with the moving notes, the notes that move the harmony, the guide tones, you don't have to feel like you're have to hit all of them every time. And then the other solution is blues, you know. What did Bill Evans do on the bridge? He goes. On the 2-5 to C, he goes like. He plays this little blues thing. That's kind of fun. It reminds me of something Miles would do. There's a very Milesian vibe to this recording. But yeah, there's, you know, jazz Christmas albums, y'all. It's that time of year. I've been hearing them on the during the set breaks, on the gigs I've been doing, coming through the speakers. We got the Bublé. I just did a big Bublé show. It was kind of fun, actually. In Grapevine, got the Sinatra Christmas, got the Ella Fitzgerald Christmas. One that's also really great that I like to put on around the house is 6-String Santa, Joe Pass, really late Joe Pass record with the classic quartet with Colin Bailey and Jim Huart and John Pisano. Man, it's really good. It has one of the worst, or like the album cover. They just like, man, I think Joe Pass was such a hip dude, and they made him look like such a goofball with like the Christmas sweater and everything. But man, it's a really good record, really good playing, good arrangements. Anyway, but check out Trio 64, y'all, and this version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town from Bill Evans and Gary Peacock and Paul Motion. And I'm going to play a little bit on it, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody, and see you later. Go Santa, go Santa.